Hi, this is Shauna with the Jeffco DeAngelis and to Jeffco DeAngelis Foundation. And today we are very excited to bring you investigators Stacy Impson and Paul Spokas with the CHISO unit of the Jeffco Sheriff's Department. And they are here to tell us everything you need to know about kids online. So take it away, friends.
All right, well, good morning. And like she said, I'm investigator Paul Spokas. This is my partner, investigator Rachel Impson, and over at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, we work in the CHISO unit, which is also known as the Child Sex Offender Internet Investigations Unit. Rachel and I have been over here for a little over 4 years now. Every year we average between 55 to 60 arrests in our unit alone, just between the two of us. We think this is a huge or just a majorly important issue to hit, especially with kids, just based on how many kids have so much access to technology. Everything's in their pockets. They can access the internet, social media in all corners of the world at all hours of the day and night. So the best way for us to be able to keep kids safe is by educating kids, educating parents. And if they're able to make proper decisions and keep themselves safe, then hopefully that just reduces the amount of cases that we have coming in and the amount of education we need, for further education for kids. And hopefully we can just continue to expand our message and teach kids, how to be safe more often while online. So we will get going here. We can get going on our presentation we have here. It'll take me just a second to get set up here. That way you guys can see a little bit more about what we're talking about, and we will kind of get into the different details on how to keep your kids safe while they're online and some of the different tips and tricks with that. So we'll start here with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. That's kind of our homepage. So this is the sheriff currently. That's going to change pretty soon here with an election coming up. And standing next to him, the yellow cat, that is CHISO, and that's who we use, especially with younger kids, to try to start teaching them about technology, garner their interest, get their attention. And we do a lot of different programs from elementary age up through high school and even parent programs. That way, the different ages are getting exposed to different levels of what's out there and how to be safe. CHISO has just become our mascot for that. And a lot of kids, as they get older, they all recognize CHISO, and they've seen them at their schools, and they remember the message that CHISO has. So a little bit of background on the CHISO units. We got started in 1996. Our Sergeant Mike Harris is actually still with the CHISO unit, and he's the initial person who started the unit back in 1996. We were one of the first units in the entire United States to conduct investigations in the fashion that we do, and in regards to technology and how kids are using that. Sergeant Harris saw that the internet was up and coming. He recognized that this was probably going to be a major way that child predators are going to be seeking children, and immediately started looking into how we could keep kids safe while they're online. Since the beginning of the unit, this number is a little bit old. We didn't update it specifically for this, but we're at about 1,200 arrests as of now for adults who have been trying to lure kids online for sexual purposes. And here it says we average about 45 arrests each year. And unfortunately, that number hasn't been updated. As well as technology's increased, unfortunately, we've seen an increase in these types of crimes and the amount of kids that are being targeted. Along with conducting our investigations and going out and trying to find these guys online, every year we also do about 75 to 100 technology safety presentations. And like I said, that's from the different ages, from elementary school, middle school, and high schools. That way we can get all kinds of kids at different levels. And as they go on and they're using technology more, we provide more access to resources and ways that they can keep themselves safe while online.
So CHISO's #1 rule, and this rule is to keep kids and adults who are online safe. But basically, if everyone were to follow this rule, no one would get tricked online. So CHISO's #1 rule is only talk to people online that you know face to face. So meaning if you were to talk to someone online, do you know them in real life? Are they a classmate? Are they a relative? And if they are, then you know who that person is in real life. And if they were to send you a friend request, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, if you had any kind of question like, is this person who they say they are? Well, I'll probably see them again tomorrow at school. You can go up to them and ask them, hey, did you send me a friend request on Facebook? And if they say yes, then go ahead and accept the friend request. We see a lot of kids being tricked online with people who are using fake profiles. The term catfish is very popular nowadays, where people portray themselves as somebody completely different than who they are in real life. That also kind of comes into the realms of criminal impersonation. So in order to try and defeat that, if everyone were to just follow this rule, this message when they are on the World Wide Web or on the social media apps, the social media sites that are out there, just talking to people that they know in real life, then no one would be getting tricked as long as they follow that number one message and the number one rule, only talk to people you know face to face. So much technology out there. And with kids these days, a lot of the technology they use is related to school, their school homework. And so they have access to the World Wide Web. And with that comes a lot of responsibility with that kind of technology. And so we try to start kids very, very young learning about technology and all the different devices that they can use technology on, from Xboxes to laptops to tablets. And now really big popular one is cell phones. Everyone has a cell phone, and kids are starting to get these cell phones as young as being in elementary school. And we understand parents and guardians want their kids to have that kind of tool, that safety net to try and find like, okay, this is where my kid is, or I need to keep in communication with my child. We understand that, but also with that comes a huge responsibility. And so we tell these kids, especially at our presentations, but even when we have kids that come up in our own cases, whether they're a victim or a witness or are just talking to someone that they don't even know, that they've never met in real life, we tell them, look, if you misuse it, you can lose it. It's just a message that we try to warn the kids, like, this is a big responsibility for you to use this tiny little computer, whether it's a tablet, laptop, cell phone, and you can talk to anyone in the entire world using this. So with that, please be super careful. But a lot of the times these kids, they make mistakes, and we understand that. So a lot of the times we have to be like, no, look, this happened. This is a lesson learned. Since you misused it, though, we're going to take that away. And that's something that we want parents, guardians, adults in charge of these technology devices to remember too, like, these kids, this isn't a toy. It's a huge commitment to have these types of devices. So it's up to the adult, the guardian, to monitor those kids with those different types of devices, and just reminding that the kid that this isn't yours to play with. You need to be very careful with this as well. So our another one of our messages is, if you misuse it, you can lose it. And we also tell the kids too, like, after we collect all these devices, we destroy them at the end of the year. That's a big thing. So these kids don't want their cell phone to get destroyed by the police.
And part of that, with kids going online and doing everything that they do, we kind of stress to kids that everywhere you go, everything that you do, whether you're searching things on the internet, if you're talking, if you're texting, you're sending pictures, you're receiving pictures, even if you're just taking pictures on your cell phone from the camera and it just goes in your photo gallery, all of those things that you do, they leave digital footprints. We talk to kids about the dangers of going to sites that they shouldn't be on, going to social media sites that they shouldn't be. And again, like an investigator Impson covered, talking to people that you know in real life. You've met them face to face, you know them in real life, because that's what's going to keep you safe. And if you are going to places that you shouldn't be, you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, there's some kind of footprint, there's some kind of trace back that somebody's going to be able to find, and hopefully it's not a bad guy. Hopefully it's somebody that's not super good with technology, with a lot of the investigations that we do, that's going to be able to trace that back. But that's what we do. And that's how we figure out where suspects are. That's how we figure out where victims are. It's just following those digital footprints that everybody leaves everywhere they go when they are online. We talk to kids about the importance of location services, especially when it comes to social media. A lot of kids have their location services activated, and this opens them up to a wide array of any kind of nefarious activity for anybody that may be looking at their location or trying to see. Snapchat in particular is a major one, and we'll touch on this a little bit later as we continue to talk. But Snapchat has what they call a snap map, and that's essentially, it's just a map, and it works like the map on your cell phone when you're just looking for directions, and it shows another user on Snapchat exactly where your kiddo's at or where you're at, if they have this snap map activated. So whether they're at school or they're at Starbucks or they're sitting in their home, is as accurate as, like I said, the map on your phone, and it's going to show whoever has access to your kid's account that they're friends with exactly where they're at. So that kind of goes back to that importance of only being friends with people face to face and in real life, because you don't want some stranger knowing where your kid is going to school, where they are hanging out after school, where they live. So we don't even want those things activated. That's the best way to keep your kids safe. One of the things with location services, what a lot of people don't realize on their cell phone, is even the camera on your cell phone actually keeps location services tagged to it. So you actually have to go into your privacy settings on your cell phone to turn off those location services, so you're not leaving any kind of digital footprint that somebody can trace back and find out where you are. Now, this screen here, this is an example of, it's a public app. This phone setup is an iPhone, and this app specifically is just a public app that anybody can get from the Apple App Store. This one specifically is called EXIF. There's a bunch of different ones that are out there. But like I said, anybody can get one of these. They can download them, and say you send a picture to somebody and you have your location services on your camera, not even on the social media app or anything else. Somebody can save that photo and they can put it into this app. And as you see there, there's a red arrow at the top that says open, and they can put this photo inside of that app. They can choose the photo right out of their camera roll that they saved from what you sent. And I mean, this is just an example of all the information that's captured from that app on just that picture on your cell phone. You saw, I mean, date, time on the previous page, there's exposure, focal length, all that kind of nonsense that nobody needs. But the most important one here at the top, at the red arrow again, is map. So you can just click on map to find out where that picture was taken. And here you see the red pin, and that red pin is put at 11139 Bradford Road. And that's in Littleton. That's our Jefferson County South Service Station where our office is. And that picture was actually behind our sergeant's desk. So it just goes to show, even if you have your location services activated on your cell phone, and now maybe, you or your kiddo or somebody has sent a completely innocent picture of themselves to somebody that they don't know, this person could put that into a publicly available app, look for those geolocation services, anything that's tagged to that photo, and they could, in theory, find exactly, where that photo was taken, or perhaps where where your kiddo's at, where you guys live. So all that stuff is just important to know, especially with the safety of technology and how much stuff goes on.
We understand that kids, when they are online, they like to play games, online games. And that's great, that's fine, that's fun. Since there's so many different games out there, a lot of them allow you to connect with anybody in the whole wide world. And so it kind of defeats our number one rule, only talk to people you know face to face, because these kids are playing with people that they've never met in real life. So with that comes our second rule. So we tell the kids, you can play the game, just don't give out your name. Meaning you can have fun playing the game with all these different people. You can chat about the game. If they're asking you like, how do I get to level 4? Well, that's about the game. That's completely fine. And you can talk about the game. However, when people that you don't know in real life start asking you personal questions, personal information about yourself, such as something that may seem harmless, like what's your favorite color? Or what's your favorite hobby? Sometimes it's not so harmless. They're trying to get to know you. Also, if they start asking you like, where do you live? What state? What school? That gets into very scary territory because this is someone you don't know. Why are they asking you these kinds of questions? So we tell kids like, look, if somebody is asking you these types of questions, you can tell them to stop. And if they continue to ask these kinds of questions about yourself, personal information, then stop playing the game with this person. We have met kids though that say after we present this second rule, play the game, don't give out your name. They say, well, I lie. I don't tell them exactly where I live, and I tell them a different state, or I tell them a different school. And our biggest thing is when we talk to these kids, it's like, you shouldn't have to lie to somebody. Our thing is, why are they even asking you these questions in the first place? So we just want these kids to be really careful online and enjoy the activities like online games, but just be aware of all the different things that could come from playing online games. So privacy settings, super important, not only just for the location services. We also recommend kids, if your parent or guardian allows you to have a social media site, and all the social media sites and apps that we've mentioned, like Facebook and Instagram, we're not picking on them. We're just using them as examples. So a big one nowadays is TikTok. A lot of kids are on TikTok. And with TikTok, it allows you to have either a public account or a private account. And what we see is a lot of these kids are posting their fun videos, which is great, different dance challenges. But if their account is a public account, then anyone can have access to those videos and actually save those videos if the person, the kid's account allows them to save the videos and view the videos. So we recommend, if the child is allowed to have a social media site, to have that site set as a private account, so only their friends can see what they're posting. So even if they are posting very innocent, fun information, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to follow kids. And we just want the kids to be safe, especially with the location settings and with their social media apps and sites. We understand a lot of kids want a lot of followers and that popularity. We understand it, we get it, but we just want parents to question about, why does my kid need to have a public account when, if they want to share their fun videos, they can share it with their friends and their family, and we should probably make their account private.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of to touch on that, when it comes to TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat, whenever we go out and we arrest one of these child predators, oftentimes, we are finding that they are following a lot of kids, on these different social media apps. They're friends with them. They look at the same stuff that they're going to, and like Investigator Impson said, that they are saving videos and things like that. So maybe this child hasn't per se been victimized at that time, but you definitely still don't want some child predator who collecting a bunch of information about your kid or their account, or even saving their stuff. So just think about that when your kids are hopping on the social media and having their privacy settings set accordingly. So we've kind of just touched on that again about setting your accounts to private, and limiting all your friends. Kids really should be limiting their friends to people who they know face to face and in real life. Kind of like Investigator Impson touched on. These kids love to have their popularity. They are just completely driven by the amount of likes that they get or the amount of followers that they get. They see these people on TikTok or Instagram that are TikTok famous or Instagram famous, and they want to be them. They want to emulate them. And so they do everything they can to try to get those followers. But in turn, to get a lot of followers, generally you have to do something different than the next person. So we see a lot of kids that are kind of partaking in pretty risky behavior because they want to kind of outdo the next person. So they're the ones that are actually getting those followers. Always check location services. We're not just talking about social media apps, but we are talking about those other things like we talked about, the camera just based on your phone. You want to make sure that those are set appropriately. That way we're not leaving easy traces and stuff for people to just grab out there online. There's enough scams, there's enough stuff that's going on out there that we don't need to just put extra stuff out into the environment, out into the world that people don't need. I mean, no effort. They don't have to put in any effort to get this stuff. It's just handed to them. And then of course you have to think about posting a lot of these pictures and what you're posting or where you're posting them, the kinds of things that you're tagged, because even if you're not having your location services on, but you're posting to Instagram about the Starbucks that you went to earlier, or, hey, look, hey, we're going to this movie theater later. It doesn't have your exact location services on because maybe you turn that off, but then you're tagging stuff and you're giving out that information anyways. So think about the pictures that you're posting, the kind of the little blurb that goes with the pictures, the descriptions that you're giving. That way you're not giving out a lot of tips and things that people can latch on to for your location and to be able to find you.
So a lot of kids are getting in trouble because they have their technology with them when they're going to bed. So we recommend and highly suggest that parents and guardians take all those devices away from their room. We want the kids to sleep and be productive when they wake up the next day instead of so tired because they were up all night texting with a friend or on a social media site that they're just now addicted to. Also, we come across kids that are, and this is highly prevalent, is cyberbullying. With these kids, with the freedom they have on their technology, they think they're invincible and that they can't be harmed because they're on a cell phone, they're behind that screen. But with cyberbullying, we've come across this across the nation where it's happening and affecting a lot of children, and it's happening in a very negative way where not just scams, but people that they know, students, it's affecting them in this horrible way where it's bleeding into the next day at school where they're not as productive. So trying to limit them on their technology is the best way we can try and help these kids with everything that's going on in their life. And we just tell parents and guardians, maybe just take that device or all those devices away for the night, put them in your room to charge for the night. That way the kid doesn't have that temptation to try and get on the technology. But yeah, curfew is great. Just say that the rule for the night or the rule for the rest of the time while you have this technology kid is all phones, all laptops, all devices come to me at 8 o'clock. That way there's set rules and the kid knows I'm supposed to be done with my technology at 8 o'clock, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I think we all kind of had that rule growing up where your parents say something like, nothing good happens after midnight. The same thing really goes for cell phones and technology. Going back to kind of kids having their cell phones in their rooms at night, I would say, 99%, if I didn't even just throw out 100% of kids that are victimized that come into our office that we interview are using their cell phones at 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, talking to people all over the world about all kinds of things, all hours of the day and night. So that's why we touch on having that curfew for technology, because it's true what they say, nothing good happens after midnight. Let's get these phones out of kids' hands. Let's get them away from it. And I just wanted to touch on, like Investigator Impson said again, that even goes with the cyberbullying aspect of things, because we didn't have that when we were younger. If you were picked on or there was somebody at school that you didn't want to deal with, when you went home, you were done with it. Maybe you had your group of friends, you guys all hung out in the neighborhood, in the cul-de-sac, whatever, and you could escape it. You could be with your friends and you had your own life. But kids now are just having that stuff follow them 24/7. So it's not even, maybe it's not your kid that's being bullied, but maybe your kid is the bully. And, and a lot of that stuff, comes from social media and what they're seeing out there, and they want to be more popular, and by, they have to drag other people down so they feel better, and then they get more likes because, the school and my classmates don't like this person as much. So it kind of goes on all facets on both ends of it. So really just trying to get technology out of kids' hands and letting them just be kids, stop being exposed to everything out there in the world, and let them just be in their little community, their little group of friends, and enjoy life that's right in front of them as it is. Here's a couple of resources that we have that we found have been very, very helpful. Both of these sites, so the commonsensemedia.org and protectyoungeyes.com, they provide a lot of good articles, a lot of good advice for parents about keeping your kids safe, apps to look out for, up and coming things, maybe different trends. We get a lot of the TikTok stuff that, again, the different challenges. Okay, well, for a while it was the choking challenge where kids would, get themselves to pass out or get their friends to pass out, or maybe they're doing dangerous stuff like, the cinnamon challenge, eat this tablespoon of cinnamon, you got to try to eat it. And then kids were actually inhaling that stuff and getting, hospitalized and really, really sick and damaging their lungs. And we had kids eating Tide Pods. I'm sure people have seen that. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things that are out there. These two sites are a couple of sites that kind of monitor that stuff ongoing. We even use them as resources to see what's going on out there, what kids are up to. Again, like I said, the trends, apps, up and coming things. That way we can try to hopefully get ahead of it a little bit more, as opposed to waiting until a kid comes in and has seen this stuff. So two very good resources for parents to be able to check out and kind of check in time to time and see what kind of updates there are. Go ahead.
We have a Facebook page. You don't have to friend us. You don't have to like us, but we do encourage people to just to take a look at our page and see if the latest trends are something that's affecting their kids that they know. A lot of social media sites and apps are out there. They come and go, and it's hard for us to keep up, but we try and post as much as we can for the latest trends as well on our Facebook page. It's the Chizo Cool Cat. And we recommend people come and take a look at it.
That concludes everything that we have. And I know there may have been some questions that have come up if we talked about this. Maybe not, but again, you could always reach out to us through Chizo Cool Cat. It has all of our contact information on there as well. So if anybody has any questions after this video, feel free to reach out to us and we can answer anything that anybody might have.
I am so appreciative of you. So as a parent, the technology is constantly changing. So the privacy settings on every platform is constantly changing. And I know that as a parent, it was a rule in my home that any device you have, I have the right to take it and look at it from time to time. It doesn't mean that I don't love you or trust you. But I do need to know what's going on. I know that, when I had kids in middle school, there was a sexting incident. So, and we had, with a group of kids sending pictures to each other. So, and thankfully we had Chizo as a resource to us, and the DA's office here in Jeffco, of course, has a great program for juvenile offenders. So kids just don't know. And quite frankly, a lot of parents, so trusted guardians, trusted adults, don't know the technology and the risks out there. So we're in the process of building a page that will add this video to on the Jeffco DeAngelis Foundation website. It's deangeliscenter.org. And we'll be working together with your team at Chizo to make sure that as you have information that you want more people to know about, we will send that information out as well. So to be able to be a resource to share your information, because the work you do is so important. And we are so, so grateful for your service to the community. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate you having us. And kind of like you said, I mean, that was one of the things I like that you touched on, that is parents taking kids' cell phones and going through and monitoring. And as a parent, don't forget that is your right. That's your phone. They're living in your house. It's your rules. We see so many parents these days that are afraid to take their kids' phones and actually go through them, because they say, well, my kid wants privacy, or they want this sense of privacy and everything. And the harder your kid is pushing, more than likely, the more there is to hide. They're trying to hide something. So I love that you touched on that. Don't be afraid to do that stuff. And like you said, it's ever changing. So it's just so important for parents to just keep up with it. If you're just going to give a kid a cell phone and let them run rampant, there's a lot of risks involved in that. Just like you're not going to hand them the car keys and say, have at it, we'll see you in a week. There's rules that come along with that, and they may be ever changing, and technology is harder and harder to keep up with. But if it's worth keeping your kids safe, it's worth putting in that effort.
Well, we are grateful to you. Another reason why Jeffco is definitely the gold standard in safety, and we can teach people across the country and world for that matter. So thank you very much. Chizo, congratulations. Thank you for everything.